The Indianapolis Star in Indiana, Hoosier superdelegate defects to Obama. And that sets up our next interview, that defector from the Clinton camp, Joe Andrew, who joins me now. Joe was Democratic National Chairman during President Clinton's second term, an early supporter of Senator Clinton in her run for president. Now the influential Indiana Democrat is switching teams backing Senator Obama. Thanks so much, Joe, for joining us. First of all, why?
Well, thank you, Andrea. You know, these are tough and personal decisions, I think, for every superdelegate that's been involved. But over the past year, I've learned, like millions of people across America, about Barack Obama, someone who I did not know before and had no personal relationship with. And I think what I've learned is the same thing that has inspired so many people across this country, that this is someone who really, truly believes that we can address serious solutions, serious problems that Americans have, without playing the old political games that I myself have been such a part of as someone who's sparred with everyone from Lee Atwater to Karl Rove. He's different. We've seen this past week that he's different and how he's handled the controversy over his former minister, and maybe even more importantly, the controversy around getting rid of the gas tax. These are things that are not that are politically expedient. They're clearly not things that can help him, but I think they've defined his character, and for me, that's what was important.
Joe, we talked to Howard Wolfson a bit ago, and he said you're not really from Indiana. Do you want to tell us the truth of where you're really from?
Well, you're going to have to talk to my grandmother and my mother and my kids who were all born in Indiana as well. You know, this is the old political theater, Andrea, that is exactly what I'm talking about. The idea is to try to take someone and try to destroy their individual credibility about whatever they're saying. I'm not going to engage in those politics. My birth certificate says here I was born here. I own a house here, and I happen to work in Washington, just like every United States senator and congressman does as well. But the fact that whether I'm from Indiana or not from Indiana is not what this is about. What it's about is the former chairman of our party trying to be able to make those superdelegates who haven't made a decision yet feel comfortable about doing so. There's a lot of important primaries left. Millions of people are going to come out and vote for John McCain, but because he's the presumptive nominee, they get to rally around him as well. I think it's time after next Tuesday that we have a presumptive nominee, that we heal the rifts, we heal the wounds, we rally around Barack Obama and go about beating John McCain.
Joe, there are reports that you did not call the Clintons to explain this before you went public. Have you talked to them at all?
No, I didn't call Barack Obama, and I didn't call Hillary Clinton. That's part of this political theater here again, Andrea, where you set up a candidate.
Some people would call it just plain politeness since you were switching. But
no, this is not a dinner party we're about. This is about fighting for a better America. What happens when you call up, let's say how Bill Richardson did, and then every reporter wants to ask you what the candidate said, what Bill Clinton or Hillary Clinton said, and then critical of what they said. I'm not going to try to engage in that as well. I'm sure they would be polite and have a great conversation. I'm sure if I had called Barack Obama, he would have said something polite. I'm standing up for what I believe in and talking about what I'm saying, and I'm not going to get involved in the old kabuki political theater here.
Let me play you what Bill Clinton said yesterday in North Carolina about his wife and her campaign.
She's going to end this thing roaring. And what are they going to say if she wins the popular vote? I'm sorry, we're going to give it to the caucus states that are going Republican in November? No. So all these people that tell you she can't win, that are rushing, trying to get all these people to declare for her, to shut it off, to cut you off and stop your voice, don't you believe it. You're still in the driver's seat.
So his point is that the popular vote should be supreme here, not delegates, or that at least superdelegates should look at who is ahead in the popular vote. What's your response to that?
Well, Andrea, I've been fighting now for 8 years to change the rules of our party to get rid of superdelegates. I agree that at the end of the day, we shouldn't even have them. But we're stuck with the rules as we do have them. And mathematically right now, whether it's Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama, it's going to be the superdelegates that actually make them our nominee. It's time to heal this wound and heal this rift. Every single vote still counts. I hope millions of people come out in the polls, just as I mentioned they're going to do for John McCain. That's not the point. The point is that in 2008, Barack Obama is the Bill Clinton of this race. Just like Bill Clinton in 1992 inspired millions of people and said that we can talk about politics differently, we can get out of this old left-right debate and govern it differently, Barack Obama is bringing something new to this process. That's what I'm inspired about.
Some of the polls today are not that great for Barack Obama. At least the daily tracking Gallup poll has him now, 4 points down. The trend line's in the wrong direction. And there's some concerns that he should probably draw from the new NBC News Wall Street Journal poll, that more people now are concerned about not just Reverend Wright, but more importantly, that he is elite, that he doesn't connect to them. How does he connect to Indianans?
Well, I think he's doing so. I think he's doing so because of the fact that he is not doing the politically expedient thing. And Hoosiers see through that, right? They see through politicians that promise something that might put an extra, $28 in their pocket, a half a tank of gas, like this gas tax idea, but recognize what we need is a real energy policy. We need a real way to try to address the environmental concerns that will affect our kids' lives as much as ours as well. So I think he's doing that. And Andrea, as you can tell, I mean, the polls aren't going well for him right now. If I were opportunistic, I would have stuck exactly where I was. But the way that he's handling himself under this pressure, showing this tenacity and showing the temperature and tone that I think that it takes to be a great president in tough times are exactly why I've made the decision I have.
All right. Thank you very much, Joe Andrew from Indiana, your home state, we should point out, you say?
Well,
a superdelegate who has switched over. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, obviously, I think your home state is where you're born, where you grew up, where you spent your time as well. So I think as I was sitting around talking to my mom this morning, she would certainly think that everybody who I went to high school with here and everybody who I spent a lot of time working with here would say this is my home state.
Okay. A Hoosier, in fact, Joe Andrew, who has endorsed Barack Obama today.